Have you ever noticed a very interesting, very curious, and very telling pattern when it comes to religious guidelines for women and men? Guidelines for women are always treated and interpreted as requirements, as fardh on women. But guidelines for men, mere recommendations. They don't have consequences. Right? Women are penalized socially, psychologically, spiritually, physically, and apparently even after death if we don't do things that are considered suggested or recommended for us, let alone things that we don't do that are considered required on us. What happens to women, for example, who don't cover their hair, who don't cover their legs or their bodies or their arms? How do we talk about them? How do people treat them? What happens to women who show their faces if their families don't allow them to do so? What happens to women who aren't considered good wives or good daughters or good mothers, who don't take care of their house, who go to work when their husbands don't let them, who leave the house without their husband's permission? Right? What happens to women who don't treat their husbands and their children very well? I think we all know the answer here. We have to who decided, for example, that the prophetic style of clothing and covering the body is not a requirement for all men, all Muslim men everywhere at all times, but the style of clothing worn by 7th century Muslim women in the Prophet's time is a requirement for all women everywhere at all times. And what are the consequences if we don't dress like that? Right? Men, though, what are the consequences? What are the punishments for men if they don't treat their wives kindly or justly, if they don't provide for their families, if they don't cover their aura like they're supposed to, apparently? What happens if men don't fulfill their obligations as sons, fathers, husbands, and so on, if they're not kind to their wives, if they don't divorce their wives in a kind manner when the Quran requires them to divorce only in a kind, compassionate, and just manner? In Quranic verse 231 in Al-Baqarah and in Quranic verse 19 in chapter 4, men are prohibited from treating their wives so unjustly that the wives will buy off their divorce through their mahar. What happens if a man does not compensate his wife for breastfeeding his children when Quranic verse 65:6 requires him to compensate his wife for breastfeeding his children, or to at least hire someone else to breastfeed their children? Why is that not considered a requirement for men? And why does that not come with social or religious or other consequences? There are so many other examples that I could give you here, but my point is to invite you to think about why this pattern exists. Why is this happening? And trust no one who tells you that the rules that only women are supposed to follow are from God, because they're not. They're from the patriarchy.